I'll never forget the day my world came crashing down. It started like any other morning. I got up, made myself a cup of coffee, and headed to my job as a software engineer at a tech company in London. Little did I know, my life was about to take an unexpected and devastating turn. It all began with a persistent stomachache that just wouldn't go away. At first, I brushed it off as just a minor discomfort, but after a few weeks, the pain became too much to bear. That's when I decided to see a doctor. The diagnosis hit me like a ton of bricks. Colon cancer, the doctor said, her voice heavy with concern. And it's already in the late stages. I was only 27 years old, with my whole life ahead of me. How could this be happening? As the news sank in, a million thoughts raced through my mind. Would I have to quit my job? How would I afford the medical bills? But most importantly, how much time did I have left? In the midst of my turmoil, a ray of hope emerged in the form of a handsome stranger named William. He was an accountant from England who had come to London for work. We met by chance at a coffee shop near my office, and there was an instant connection. At first, I tried to keep my distance, not wanting to burden him with my troubles. But William had a way of making me feel comfortable, and before I knew it, I found myself pouring my heart out to him, revealing the devastating news of my cancer diagnosis. To my surprise, instead of running away, William stayed by my side, offering a listening ear and unwavering support. In those early days, his kindness and compassion were a lifeline, helping me stay afloat in the midst of the storm. As the weeks passed, our bond grew stronger, and William became more than just a friend. He was my rock, my confidant, and the one person who truly understood what I was going through. And despite the dark clouds of uncertainty looming over my future, I found myself falling for him harder than I ever thought possible. In the weeks following my diagnosis, William became a constant presence in my life. Despite my initial reservations about letting him in, his kindness and unwavering support slowly chipped away at the walls I had built around my heart. One evening, as we sat together in a cozy cafe, sipping on hot tea, William looked at me with those warm, gentle eyes of his. "Amelia," he said, reaching across the table to take my hand in his. "I know this is a difficult time for you, but I want you to know that I'm here for you, no matter what." I felt a lump form in my throat, tears threatening to spill over. "William, you don't understand," I replied, my voice trembling. "This cancer, it's not going away. The doctors have given me a grim prognosis." He squeezed my hand reassuringly. "Then we'll face it together," he said with a determined nod. "You're not alone in this fight." His words washed over me like a warm embrace, and in that moment, I knew that my feelings for him had grown into something deeper than friendship. Over the next few weeks, our bond only strengthened. William accompanied me to doctor's appointments, held my hand through the grueling rounds of chemotherapy, and even shaved his own head in solidarity when my hair began to fall out. "You're beautiful, with or without hair," he said, running his fingers over my bare scalp with a tender smile. His unwavering support was both a blessing and a curse. On one hand, his presence brought me immense comfort and joy, but on the other, I couldn't help but feel guilty for dragging him into the depths of my battle. One night, as we lay tangled together in my bed, I broached the subject that had been weighing heavily on my mind. "William," I whispered, my voice barely audible, "what are we doing? This isn't fair to you." He propped himself up on one elbow, his brow furrowed with concern. "What do you mean?" "This," I gestured between us. "Us. You deserve so much more than a life tied to someone with a ticking clock." To my surprise, William chuckled softly, reaching out to tuck a stray strand of hair behind my ear. "Amelia, don't you see? You're not a burden to me. You're the best thing that's ever happened to me." His words took my breath away, and in that moment, I knew that no matter what the future held, I wanted to face it by his side. In the months that followed, my relationship with William blossomed into something truly beautiful, yet tinged with an underlying sadness. As much as I tried to push him away for his own good, he remained steadfast, refusing to let me face this battle alone. One crisp autumn evening, as we strolled hand in hand through Hyde Park, William stopped abruptly, turning to face me with a look of determination in his eyes. "Amelia," he said, his voice thick with emotion, "I know our situation is far from ideal, but you've brought more joy and love into my life than I ever thought possible." He reached into his pocket, retrieving a small velvet box, and my heart skipped a beat. "William, what are you doing?" "Amelia, my love for you knows no bounds," he continued, dropping to one knee before me, "and I want to spend every remaining moment we have together, as husband and wife. Will you marry me?" Tears streamed down my cheeks as I gazed into his earnest eyes, overcome by a whirlwind of emotions. Part of me wanted to say no, to spare him the inevitable pain of losing me, but a greater part of me knew that I could never deny the depth of my feelings for this remarkable man. "Yes," I whispered, my voice trembling. "Of course I'll marry you, William." He slipped the simple diamond ring onto my finger, and in that moment, everything else faded away. The cancer, the prognosis, the uncertainty, it all melted into insignificance as I lost myself in his tender embrace. Our wedding was a small, intimate affair, attended by a handful of close friends and family. As I walked down the aisle, my eyes locked with William's, and I knew that no matter what lay ahead, we would face it together, united by an unbreakable bond of love and commitment. "I love you, Amelia," he murmured, his voice thick with emotion as we exchanged vows. "For better or worse, in sickness and in health, until death do us part." And in that moment, those words held more weight and meaning than either of us could have ever imagined. Married life with William was a constant whirlwind of emotions. One moment, we'd be basking in the blissful joy of our newfound union, and the next, we'd be faced with the harsh reality of my deteriorating health. The first few months after our wedding were a reprieve, a brief respite from the storm that had been raging within me. The chemotherapy seemed to be working, and for a while, the cancer went into remission. We allowed ourselves to dream of a future together, to make plans and set goals like any other newlywed couple. "Amelia," William said one evening as we cuddled on the couch, his fingers idly playing with my slowly regrowing hair, "have you ever thought about having children?" I tensed, the weight of his words hitting me like a ton of bricks. Children were something I had always wanted, but with my diagnosis, that dream seemed impossibly out of reach. "William, you know that's not an option for me," I replied, my voice barely above a whisper. "Not with the cancer." He cupped my face in his hands, his eyes shining with a tenderness that never failed to take my breath away. "But what if the cancer goes away for good? What if we beat this thing?" His hopeful words ignited the spark within me, a flicker of possibility that I hadn't dared to entertain. And for a brief, shining moment, I allowed myself to imagine a world where we could have it all. A life together, a family, a future. But our reprieve was short-lived. Just when we had started to let our guard down, the cancer came back with a vengeance, metastasizing to other parts of my body. The chemotherapy became more intense, the side effects more debilitating, and our dreams of a future together began to slip through our fingers like grains of sand. Through it all, William remained my rock, my unwavering source of strength and support. He held my hand through every agonizing treatment, wiped away my tears when the pain became too much to bear, and never once wavered in his belief that we would overcome this together. "We're in this fight side by side, my love," he would murmur, his lips brushing against my forehead. "And we'll come out on the other side, no matter what it takes." His words were like a lifeline, keeping me tethered to hope even when the darkness threatened to consume me. And though the road ahead was fraught with uncertainty and pain, I knew that with William by my side, I could weather any storm. As the months rolled by and my health continued its roller coaster ride, William and I made a daring decision to travel the world together, savoring every moment we had left. The doctor's prognosis be damned, William declared one evening, his eyes alight with determination. "We're not going to sit around and wait for the inevitable. We're going to live, really live, while we still can." I'll admit, the idea terrified me at first. With my fragile condition, the thought of globetrotting seemed like a recipe for disaster. But as I gazed into William's unwavering eyes, I knew that he was right. If our time together was limited, we owed it to ourselves to make the most of it. And so, we packed our bags and set off on an adventure that would forever change the course of our lives. Our first stop was Paris, the city of love. How fitting for a couple clinging to every ounce of love we could muster. As we strolled hand in hand along the Seine, the Eiffel Tower looming overhead, I felt a sense of peace wash over me. "This is what it's all about, isn't it?" I murmured, leaning my head against William's shoulder. "Moments like these, where nothing else matters but being together." William planted a tender kiss on my forehead. "Exactly, my love, and we've got a lifetime of moments ahead of us, no matter how long or short that lifetime may be." From Paris, we hopscotched across Europe, taking in the sights, sounds, and flavors of each new destination with a fervor bordering on desperation. Venice, Rome, Barcelona. Each city held its own unique charm, but none could compare to the thrill of simply being alive, of defying the odds stacked against us. There were tough times, of course, days when the pain and fatigue were almost too much to bear, and I wanted nothing more than to curl up in bed and give in. But William was always there, my own personal cheerleader, pushing me to keep going, to keep fighting. "Come on, love," he'd say, scooping me up in his strong arms when I could barely muster the strength to walk. "The world's waiting for us out there." And somehow, in those moments, I found the resilience to carry on, fueled by the love and determination that burned brighter than any cancer ever could. Our travels took us to places I'd only ever dreamed of, but it was the journey itself that became the greatest adventure of all. With each new stamp in our passports, we were writing our own story, a tale of hope, resilience, and a love that knew no bounds. As our globetrotting adventures continued, the challenges we faced seemed to grow in equal measure. Some days, the cancer would rear its ugly head, leaving me bedridden and in agonizing pain. Other times, the side effects of the relentless treatments would leave me feeling like a mere shell of my former self. But through it all, William remained my constant, my rock, my anchor, my reason for pushing forward when every fiber of my being screamed at me to give up. In the quiet moments, when the pain and exhaustion became too much to bear, he would gather me in his arms, rocking me gently as he whispered soothing words of love and encouragement. "I'm here, my love," he would murmur, his warm breath tickling my ear. "Always and forever by your side." His devotion knew no bounds, and I often found myself wondering how I had been blessed with such an incredible partner in life. When the world seemed to be crashing down around us, his unwavering strength and resilience were the beacons that guided us through the storm. "William," I croaked one particularly difficult night, my voice hoarse from the endless rounds of medication, "how can you still love me like this? I'm a mere shadow of the woman you married." He cupped my face in his calloused hands, his eyes shining with a depth of emotion that took my breath away. "Amelia, my love for you has nothing to do with your physical form," he said firmly. "It's your spirit, your courage, your incredible zest for life that captured my heart from the moment we met. And that fire within you burns brighter than ever, even in your darkest moments." His words washed over me like a soothing balm, reminding me that our bond transcended the mere physical plane. We were two souls, intertwined in a love story for the ages, one that would withstand even the cruelest of trials. As we continued our travels, that unbreakable bond only grew stronger. We clung to each other fiercely, drawing strength from the love that had sustained us through the darkest of times. In the bustling streets of Madrid, we danced to the rhythmic beats of flamenco, our bodies moving as one, oblivious to the curious stares of onlookers. In the rolling hills of Tuscany, we sipped rich, full-bodied wines, toasting to the beauty of the present moment and the precious gift of life. And in those fleeting instances of pure, unadulterated joy, the cancer seemed to fade into the background, nothing more than a distant memory overshadowed by the vibrant tapestry of our love. Our journey was far from easy, but with each passing day, our bond grew stronger, more resilient, more unbreakable. We were warriors, fighting side by side against the cruelest of foes, armed with a love that knew no bounds. As much as William and I tried to outrun my illness, the cruel reality of my condition eventually caught up to us. The cancer, once again, had metastasized, spreading like an unstoppable wildfire through my body. I remember the day the doctor delivered the devastating news, her solemn expression saying more than words ever could. I had entered the final stage, and there was little more they could do beyond making me comfortable. "I'm so sorry, Amelia," she said, her voice laced with genuine sorrow. "At this point, it's about quality of life, not quantity." The words hung heavy in the air, a weight so oppressive that it threatened to crush us both. William squeezed my hand tightly, his eyes shimmering with unshed tears. "How long?" he croaked, his voice barely above a whisper. The doctor shook her head, her lips pressed into a thin line. "It's impossible to say for certain, but based on the progression, I'd estimate a few months at most." A few months, the phrase echoed in my mind, a cruel mockery of the lifetime I had once envisioned for us. In that moment, the weight of our reality came crashing down upon me, and I felt myself beginning to unravel. But then, I looked at William, my beautiful, steadfast William, and I saw the same determination in his eyes that had carried us through every other battle. "Amelia," he said, cradling my face in his hands, "this isn't the end, my love. It's just the beginning of a new chapter." His words, spoken with such conviction, ignited a spark within me, a fire that refused to be extinguished. I may have been dealt a cruel hand, but I was determined to play it with grace and dignity. Over the next few months, we made the most of the time we had left. We traveled to the places we had always dreamed of, checked off bucket list items, and lived each day as if it were our last. In the quiet moments, when the pain became too much to bear, we would hold each other close, drawing strength from our unbreakable bond. "I love you, Amelia," William would whisper, his voice thick with emotion, more than words could ever express. And I, in turn, would cling to him fiercely, savoring every precious second we had left. "I love you too, William," I would reply, my heart swelling with a love so pure, so profound, that it transcended the boundaries of our mortal existence. As the days grew shorter and my strength waned, I found solace in the knowledge that our love story was one for the ages, a tale of resilience, courage, and an unwavering commitment to cherishing every moment we were given. And when the end finally came, I embraced it with open arms, surrounded by the man who had made my life worth living and the memories that would forever bind us together. As I took my final breaths, surrounded by the love of my life and the cherished memories we had created together, a profound sense of peace washed over me. The fear and uncertainty that had once plagued me faded away, replaced by a deep gratitude for the extraordinary journey I had been blessed to experience. In those last moments, I looked into William's eyes, those warm, gentle eyes that had been my anchor through the storm, and I saw a lifetime's worth of love and devotion reflected back at me. No words were needed. Our bond transcended the boundaries of language, a connection so deep and profound that it would endure long after I was gone. As the world around me began to fade, I found myself reflecting on the lessons our love story had taught me. In the face of adversity, we had chosen to live, truly live, embracing each moment with a fervor that defied the cruel hand we had been dealt. We had danced in the streets of Madrid, savored the rich flavors of Tuscan wines, and held each other close as we watched the sun set over the Aegean Sea. Through it all, our love had been the constant, the unwavering force that carried us through even the darkest of times. It was a love that knew no bounds, transcending the physical realm and elevating our souls to a higher plane of existence. And as I took my final breath, I knew that our story, our incredible, inspiring tale of resilience and passion, would live on, a testament to the power of love and the importance of cherishing every moment we are given. Our time on this earth is fleeting, a mere blink of an eye in the grand scheme of existence, but it is what we do with that time that truly matters. Cherish your loved ones, embrace every moment, and never take a single day for granted. Life is a precious gift, one that should be celebrated and savored to the fullest. Thank you for watching. Subscribe to our channel, give us a like, share our story, and see you soon.